Hello there and welcome back to my channel. In this video I will be introducing my ideas for the next biome that the developers of Peak should add to their game. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm playing a Peak knockoff, it's because I don't currently have my hands in the actual game and Roblox is the closest thing I could find to it. So without further ado, let's jump into these suggestions. So for my first biome concept, I think we should either introduce a cave system into the already existing alpine biome, or we should add a new biome with the name Icicle Caverns. So basically, I imagine this biome as a more difficult version of the alpine biome. Or if added to the original biome, it essentially would offer a second route for you to take. Instead of taking the normal long route by climbing around the mountain, you could instead take the shorter, more dangerous route that acts as an interconnected cave system which runs through the mountain. Now as to why these icicle caverns are far more dangerous than regularly climbing the mountain, it's because of the abundant amount of hazards that lie in store for you. For the first hazard, I think Crabwave should add an icicle or stalagmite mechanic to the game. These ice stalagmites would occasionally, or frequently depending on the height, drop down on you and deal a significant amount of damage towards you. This number of damage wouldn't kill you, but it would take a huge chunk of your health away. In order to counter this, we could add a warning for when and where this icicle would drop. As for when, we could do something as simple as adding a sound effect, and for where, we could go with the classic red marker used in most games for falling items. Another hazard that should be added is a more slippery variant of rock or ice that can be found. Essentially, this would work in similarity to the slippery mechanic in a game about climbing by Pontypants, in which there is a second type of rock or ice that can cause you to slip. In order to differentiate the two variants, we could have one be slightly desaturated in comparison to the other, as well as having the slippery rock either be ice or have a watery texture. Now, when you walk across a slippery rock, you merely just fall down, making it more annoying than dangerous. But when you completely climb on this rock, you will slip and fall into your inevitable doom depending on the height you fall from. Not only does this act as a hazard to avoid, but it also creates the challenge of having to maneuver around the slippery rock. For my second concept, I suggest we add a new cliffside village, which will once again either be a structure that randomly spawns in the jungle biome using procedural generation, or be an entirely new biome. These villages will act similarly to the bases in which people take breaks in to rest when climbing Mount Everest. These now abandoned villages will spawn rarely, consisting of multiple houses scattered across multiple cliff sides. Some of these cliff sides will be connected via upwards bridges, but most of the bridges will have worn out. The village houses will provide you with many suitcases, OP loot, and the occasional marshmallow, but it has a risk of climbing between the cliffs. For my final idea, I suggest we add a fusion biome with the caldera and mesa biomes called the sulfur sands. Instead of scaling a mountain, you instead have to scale a volcano that is thousands of meters high. At the bottom of the volcano, I imagine it being the same tropical setting with palm trees that is apparent in previous biomes. But when you start climbing, things change for the worst. A hazard that we could add could be called a lava vent, which would occasionally spur out lava onto the player, as well as immediately spitting out lava when walked over. I think the lava should work similarly to the poison mechanic, slowly and gradually damaging you over time, similar to the fire mechanic in the caldera biome. This would only damage you unless it is healed with a medkit. But to counter this, we should add a second variant to the lava vent called the sulfur vent. This vent, instead of damaging you, would propel you vertically in the air, either giving you a speed boost or an easy way to scale large walls. When you find one of these vents adjacent to a wall, you can either receive the benefit of being propelled by sulfur, or you can be damaged by burning hot lava. Another option is that instead of having sulfur vents, it's possible we can have steaming geysers that act as both propulsion and a way to cool yourself after being burned from lava. Finally, another possible hazard could be loose rocks or boulders that can cause boulder avalanches. These avalanches would have a rarer chance to occur in the player, and when it does happen, it would be wise to hide under a ledge or geyser. However, if you do get hit with the boulder avalanches, you would not only take damage from it, but you would take damage from the fall, possibly sending you several flights downwards. Those are all of my suggestions for what can be added to the biomes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.